You are so close to finishing this crash course on JavaScript, and I think you'll be surprised how much you know about JavaScript as you kind of get moving and we jump into jQuery and some other things down the road. Now, I saved kind of a doozy for the last one, and that's JavaScript functions. This is really, really important to understanding JavaScript in general. If you have to, I would encourage you to probably watch this lesson twice. Just really try to grasp the concept here of functions. Now, what the heck is a function? A function is simply a block of code that runs in a single execution. And I'll kind of demo this through a real example. To create a function, we're going to do function math me dude and do parentheses. And this is a function. We've essentially created our first function together. It doesn't do anything. Like if we would refresh here, nothing happens. If we would call it math me dude, nothing would happen because literally it doesn't do anything. But for just real quick illustrative purposes, let's just make it do this. It's going to log 1 like 20 times. Refresh, we're called the function, and it's executing all this code here. Now, if I wanted to do this a ton of times, I could spam my console log here. And you can see I was able to reuse all this code into a single action here. And that's what a function is. Obviously, this doesn't make any sense to do. So let's do a real example. So I got rid of everything, and I want to just do a simple addition whenever this function gets called. So I want to be able to add two numbers together. And so what I'll do is I'll call this the left dude, and then I'll call this the right dude. And we're going to add the left dude to the right dude. So we'll call this result is equal to the left dude plus the right dude, and we'll log the result. And all we have to do now is call the function and pass whatever the heck we want here to these arguments. And that's what those are called. So we can say 2 plus 2, and it's going to say 4 here now, which is cool. We can do, just as another, plus 2,000. It doesn't matter. The code works every time. We could, if we wanted to, we could say count 1 is equal to 2. We could change this to a variable. Doesn't matter. The function is running and it works. Pretty neat. That's how functions work in kind of like the most basic example. But sometimes you're going to want to, instead of like printing or logging it to a debug, we're going to want to return the result. And what I mean by that is we literally are going to write return the result. And so now I can create a variable, and I'll call this the final result is equal to math me dude of 2 and 2. Now I have a variable that anytime the variable runs, it's actually going to execute all the code here. So if I do console log final result, this is going to run this. Cool. 4. Done. Pretty neat. And we're returning the result. So now it's tied to the variable. So those are like the two kind of things you need to know about functions. And it gets way, way more complicated than that. And I'll show you a couple examples just for, just to kind of intro you to it for when it eventually comes your way. So we now know we can assign a function to a variable. But if we wanted to be lazy, or not really lazy, but you technically don't have to, you could kind of do this in shorthand. So I'm going to write the exact same thing, but without the math me dude code. So what I'll do here is I'm copying and pasting code and call this 2 plus 2. And now when I run this code, instead of just leaving the variable open for to be called from somewhere else, I'm saying the variable has to equal, or the function has to equal final result where left dude, right dude exists. And now I can just call the variable final result and pass 2 parameters, and it will return the result, 2 plus 2. Let's see if, and just to make sure our console changes, we'll actually do math of 10 plus 10. Refresh, we get 20. It works. So let's call this example 1 easy. We'll call this example 2 medium. And now let's just kind of touch base on another thing we can do with this. Just like how functions can be assigned to variables, if we had an object, oh no, objects again is equal to an object with the first key being math me dude. And what I want this to do is I'm going to comment all this out and show you 2 separate examples. First example, we are going to free up this function again. So now this is available, and I can do math me dude is equal to, or just for reasons of being able to change up the names a little bit, we'll call this math me please. And now what I can do is in the same way that you kind of create, the same way that we were logging the final result from the first example, which was just that. These 2 existed. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to call it from an object. And so now we're tying the 2 most important things in JavaScript, objects and functions, together in a kind of like easy way. And what we're going to do is just say, we're going to log, oh no, objects again by the key. And it should return a result of math me dude of 2 plus 2. So it should say 4 here now. Oh no, error. There it is. There it is, 4. I had a semicolon there. So that's pretty neat and awesome. You can kind of extend code, and this gets way more complicated when you're doing vanilla JS and other things. Just know jQuery kind of follows a similar practice of this, and you don't have to even understand the extent of these demos here for the jQuery purposes, but that's what it's going to be doing. And we'll walk through real examples of this with jQuery now that you have completed the crazy fast recap of JavaScript.